Hey there, Bible in a Year people. Episode 114 today.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, do a little dance. There you go. How about that? Have a sandwich. Listen to us. What was the last statement you made about evil in the last episode? Say that again.
If you don't destroy evil, evil will destroy you.
Do you know what today's lesson is about, people?
Oh.
Evil destroying the northern tribes.
Yeah, that's a tough lesson.
It really is. We're going to look at that in just a second.
Yep.
For now, come on in. Bible of the Year. Sheila just got some footage for her next spoof video. I just took the biggest inhale breath you can possibly take. All right. I just said off camera, I hate just reading to people. I do it often. I think it's a cheap way out in many cases, but I think it's important for people to hear these first 23 verses of 2 Kings 17 to really set the context, okay? So I'm going to read you the first 23 verses of 2 Kings 17. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, bad guy, Hoshea, son of Elah, became king of Israel in Samaria, okay? And if I could say this too as we begin, in John 4, this is part of the split. And it's also part of why the people in Jerusalem always had a bad feeling to the people up north. And I know I'm reducing the argument down, but this is part of the reason. Nothing was quite right after the kingdoms split.
True.
And those southern kingdoms never gave any validity to the northern kingdoms as a result of all of this. So when that woman says, why do your people say we have to worship in Jerusalem when my people say it's right to worship at Mount Gerizim? And again, there's more to it than all of that. But this is part of that deal, correct?
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, there's this divide between Samaritans and the Jews, and it's from here to forever.
Yeah, very much so. So in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, Hoshea, son of Elah, became king of Israel in Samaria, and he reigned 9 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, but not like the kings of Israel who preceded him. Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, came up to attack Hoshea, who had been Shalmaneser's vassal and had paid him tribute. But the king of Assyria discovered that Hoshea was a traitor, for he had sent envoys to So, king of Egypt, and he no longer paid tribute to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore Shalmaneser seized him and put him into prison. The king of Assyria invaded the entire land, marched against Samaria, and laid siege to it for 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria captured Samaria and deported the Israelites in Assyria. So this is the Assyrian exile that we've talked about.
Yeah.
He settled them in Halah and Gozan on the Habor River and in the towns of the Medes. All this took place because the Israelites and this is significant, like that's describing, okay, this is the Assyrian exile happening for all the northern tribes. Why did that happen? If you mess with evil,
yeah, it'll destroy you.
It'll destroy you.
Yes.
All this took place because the Israelites had sinned against the Lord their God, who had brought them up out of Egypt from under the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. They worshipped other gods and followed the practices of the nations the Lord had driven out before them, as well as the practices that the kings of Israel had introduced. The Israelites secretly did things against the Lord their God. Secret from who? Not secret from God. You know what I mean? From watchtower to fortified city, it was exhaustive. They built themselves high places in all of their towns. They set up sacred stones and Asherah poles on every high hill and under every spreading tree. At every high place they burned incense as the nations whom the Lord had driven out before them had done. They did wicked things that aroused the Lord anger. They worshipped idols though the Lord had said, you shall not do this. The Lord warned Israel and Judah through all his prophets and seers. Turn from your evil ways. Observe my commands and decrees in accordance with the entire law that I commanded your ancestors to obey and that I delivered to you through my servants the prophets. But they wouldn't listen and were as stiff-necked as their ancestors who did not trust in the Lord their God. That's kind of a a reference, and it's not kind of, it is. But I should say not only a reference to, but a big reference to the people that refused to cross the Jordan River. They rejected his decrees and the covenant he had made with their ancestors and the statutes he had warned them to keep. They followed worthless idols and themselves became worthless. You'll become evil. They intimidated. They imitated the nations around them, although the Lord had ordered them, do not do as they do. They forsook all the commands of the Lord their God and made for themselves 2 idols cast in the shape of calves and an Asherah pole. They bowed down to all the starry host and they worshiped Baal. They sacrificed their sons and daughters in the fire. We talked about that in the last episode, King Ahaz. They practiced divination and sought omens and sold themselves out to do evil in the eyes of the Lord, arousing his anger. So the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them from his presence. Only the tribe of Judah was left, and a little bit of Benjamin. And even Judah did not keep the commands of the Lord their God. They followed the practices Israel had introduced. Therefore, the Lord rejected all the people of Israel. He afflicted them and gave them into the hands of plunderers until he thrust them from his presence. When he tore Israel away from the house of David, they made Jeroboam, son of Nebat, their king. Jeroboam enticed Israel away from following the Lord and caused them to commit a great sin. The Israelites persisted in all the sins of Jeroboam and did not turn away from them until the Lord removed them from his presence, as he had warned through all his servants the prophets. So the people of Israel were taken from their homeland into exile in Assyria, and they are still there.
Yeah. 722 BC. That's a date that really I think you would be wise to remember. 722 BC, the Assyrians take over the northern tribes. And you know, Kevin, those folks that were taken into Assyria, northwest Mesopotamia, they never come back. Now, in the southern tribe of Judah, when we get to Jerusalem being destroyed in 587, 586, they go into exile into Babylon until 539, but they do come back to Jerusalem, Ezra, Nehemiah. But these guys in the northern tribes, taken away from their homes by the Assyrians, they never come back home. The Assyrians sent their own people to populate that area. They lose their language. They lose the Hebrew language. They go to Aramaic. They lose their God. They lose their worship. They lose it all because they disobeyed God.
100%. And, you know, there's always some stragglers. I'm sure when those people came back from Babylon, they stopped along the way. Some of them, they didn't make it all the way down to Jerusalem. So there's a pocket.
Right.
I mean, there's a pocket. But the diaspora, they're dispersed and they never come back. They just don't. And they were scattered forever. And so when you read, as you're teaching in Revelation, the coming back, the coming back, the coming back. And it's what we see in our society now. When Israel was made an official nation by the globe after World War II.
1948.
There it was. Okay. When they're named that nation again, that's why they came back. And it's why the fight over the land is still occurring.
Yeah.
You know, it's why my Iranian brother said to me when I said, "You'll never guess where I am." He said, "Where?" I said, "I'm in Israel." He said, "Oh, how long have you been in Palestine?" Yeah. What? This is what we're reading. It's why the woman at the well says, "Why do you Jews say Jerusalem's where we worship?" And they're not even identifying anymore, you know? I mean, it's just a mess.
And it's critically important. Sometimes this is not exciting reading for some people, but as you look at 2 Kings and you begin to understand what happened and how the Jews were taken out of their homes and taken exiled into Assyria, they never came back. The people lost their religion, their faith, and all of that. Then you hear the story about the woman at the well in John chapter 4, or the story about the Good Samaritan. Why was he singled out as a Good Samaritan? Because Samaritans didn't have any dealings with Jews, and yet that Good Samaritan stopped. It gives you a deep understanding of the Gospels when we get there.
Well, and that's the thing. And when you get over into books like Isaiah and Jeremiah and books like that, and I'm totally just giving concepts here. I'm not quoting from those scriptures, but you'll read these concepts in those prophetic scriptures. They honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me.
Yeah.
Rend your hearts and not your garments. Hosea, if you knew what this means, that God desires mercy and not sacrifice. It's all these types of scriptures that you're going to read in these prophetic books. This is what it's talking about. You guys go through the motions, but you never really honor me, you know, and this is why they were carried away.
And think about this, Kevin. What if we were carried away as Americans to Russia or to China or to a nation where we don't speak the language, we don't know the people, we don't know the culture? What if we were taken away like that? I mean, put yourself in the position of these Jews that have been taken away by the Assyrians. They will never come back home. I mean, this is really one of the lowest points of Israel's history.
It just absolutely is. And why? It's because of sin. And this, look, I know sometimes people think I harp on this. This is the story.
It is.
It is the story. And if you miss it, you don't get the Bible.
Yeah.
You don't understand it. Okay. This is me getting over my toes a little bit. I need to come back and straighten up. This is Moses referring or relating God's word. Listen, here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to get over there, and I'm telling you, you better stay pure, but I know you won't. I know you won't. So when you ask for a king, this is the kind of king you should ask for. I'm telling you, this is how you need to behave when you get over there. Remember this in an earlier episode?
Sure do.
You need to live communally, but I know how you are. You're going to claim ownership of your land. When you claim ownership of your land, some people are not going to have as much as you. So can you please at least leave the edges of your fields to harvest? Ruth and Boaz all over again.
Sure.
This is what we're talking about. And because I think we'll just keep this all for ourselves rather than be kind and share. I mean, let's be honest. Keep the edges of your land as this. It ain't this. It's not. This is communalism. This is keep the edges of your land. This is, you know what? I work hard for this. You raise your own crops. Yeah, you know, how about this? God is our God. Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God, the Lord is one. You're old and your boys don't follow in your way. We want a king so we can be like everyone else. All right, when you get a king, don't have a bunch of wives, Solomon. Don't collect gold and silver, Solomon. Don't get a bunch of horses, Solomon. You know, I mean, it's just over and over and over again. They just follow the ways of Canaan. It is a different way to be. Come out from among them, my people, and be separate. You will teach that in the book of Revelation.
Yeah, sure.
Look at me, I'm preaching up in here.
Yeah.
It's Revelation 18.
Yeah. Oh.
All the nations have drunk her maddening wines.
Wow.
Come out from among her, my people. Be separate. Be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. It's Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. You have heard it said, but I say to you, and if you think I've come to abolish the law, you're out of your mind. I didn't come to abolish the law. I came to fulfill the law.
Yeah.
You know, it's sorry.
Oh, fantastic. Just do what God says.
I know.
It's not complicated.
I
But,
just
that's
get
well
so
put.
frustrated.
Well put.
I get so frustrated because I look at it and I'm like, come on, guys.
You see what they could be. You see the potential.
How about this? Don't go back to Egypt. Solomon's first wife, Pharaoh's daughter.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And when you're reading these things, we've got political alliances all over the place. Wait a second. Are you trusting in the king of Assyria? Or are you trusting in the name of the Lord our God? You know, I mean, that's Sennacherib.
Yeah.
Sennacherib ain't going to get you. Hezekiah.
No.
Sennacherib ain't going to get you. I will save you. I mean, you know, this is me getting all jacked up over here.
They drifted away from God.
So who is this Hezekiah guy? Because we're going to read about him in 18.
Boy, he is a fascinating character.
Isn't he?
Be careful what you pray for. You know, Hezekiah is a good man. He's a good king. In 2 Kings 18:5, Hezekiah trusted in the Lord, the true God of Israel. There was no one like Hezekiah among all the kings of Judah, either before him or after him. He was a good man. He held fast to the word of God. He got back to the covenant. He really tried to get Israel, the southern part of Israel, Judah, Jerusalem, Benjamin, back to the Father.
He really tried.
Yeah.
He really tried. And we're just really introducing him here. I mean, I know we're 15 minutes in after my little
It was well said.
my little rant.
Yeah, well said.
I just get frustrated, but that's why I love the Old Testament so much. You can see this absolute peak and then the bottom. I mean, like it's not even a 90-degree drop. It's like some sort of, like you're going to start here and then just take a cockeyed drop even backwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, you know. So anyways, so as we're finishing up here, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, threatens Judah and Jerusalem. And when we get to the next episode, it really gets ramped up here, you know, as we move over to 2 Kings 19 and Sennacherib's fall is predicted and, you know, so on and so forth, which honestly makes way for Babylon to come in eventually. But, you know, so.
Isn't it fascinating, Kevin? Kingdoms come and kingdoms go. I mean, throughout history.
Yeah. Not even a question. That's why, David, I mean, I'll just be honest. Listen, I love America. I do. And it's what you said. I can't imagine being anywhere else on earth. I just can't. And when I led prayer this morning, nobody stopped me. And you know what? Praise, honor, and glory to God. Acts 17, you were born where you were, when you were, because God ordained it. And I will never take that for granted.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
But if people think that I'm going to trust in governments of men, no way. No way. And people, look, I'm at the point in my life, if people want to manipulate what I just said, that's on them. That's not on me. I love America. I celebrate 4th of July. I celebrate Memorial Day. I celebrate Labor Day. But and I read this, and I've heard many pastors say this. If Jesus is Lord, Caesar is not. And I'm going to stand with Jesus, you know.
Amen.
It's C.S. Lewis, mere Christianity. It's not God and.
Yeah.
It's just Jesus, man.
Yeah.
It's just Jesus. So, all right, that's it. I'm done. Rant over. God bless you guys. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. See you then. God bless.